Hello there. New video, new space. Here we are talking about mentorship. If you're working in UX or you're a product person, is it worth getting a mentor to help? If you're watching this video, I suspect your answer is yes. You think it's a good idea. But do you actually know how mentorship works? I'm Ash. I work as a UX researcher, and I want to go over how mentorship is set up nowadays and help you get the most out of mentorship. Just to give you some context, UX as a field is still new and growing, evolving. It can be challenging to keep up with all the trends, what's happening in the market. So getting a mentor is really good for that. You're getting up-to-date information and you're possibly sidestepping the noise that comes from trying to find information online by yourself. But the thing about mentorship is that it comes in different shapes, and some people just assume there's one form that works for everyone. Let me share some of the thoughts from Sarah. She's the ex-director from RCB in Canada and independent researcher, now doing some mentoring on the side.
There are mentorships which are available, which are like very much ongoing, and people who have regular touch points with the person that they're mentoring, and they have assignments and they have, check-ins on a regular cadence every 2 weeks, every month to see how things are going. There are also a lot of platforms out there which are good for either one-offs or less structured mentorship sessions. There are a whole bunch of different sources, and it's kind of like, do you want a regular cadence and a really structured system? Is that what you need right now? Or do you want to talk to a bunch of different people and find the right person and get a variety of different perspectives?
When I was starting out, I was having these one-off meetings, having a coffee and a chat with someone, and it was great. Some people call it mentorship, but there are other mentorships that are a bit more formal. Sabrina is a principal researcher at Stepstone. She has been involved in the UXPA mentorship program that takes a few months to complete. And now she mentors via ADP List.
ADP List, the actual mentor session is very informal, at least how I do it. So it is a little bit like an appointment with a GP. You try to find out what the problem is of the mentee. You listen a lot, you emphasize, and then you try to contribute something from your own experience or give some advice or some food for thinking. That's how it works.
How do you decide which way to go? Think about what do you want to get out of the mentor.
One of the things that you see a lot of in career recommendations is get a mentor. And then people are like, I need to get a mentor. And they haven't really thought about why they're trying to get the mentor. They just saw that that was a requirement for success.
The next step is, how do you find a mentor? If you can find someone in an event or a conference, someone that you feel you click, it might be easier that way, and you can just reach out to the person with a question.
When I'm speaking at an event or at a panel, people reach out to me after it, and this is a good connection point. Yeah.
You also have social media, LinkedIn. But I sense it's easy for others to ignore messages. Don't feel down if you don't hear back. And writing a message, can you be my mentor? It's like asking someone, will you be my friend? In real life, we're not really this formal. You can start with a simple question, something related to their experience or their job. Another thing to think about, what are you looking for when it comes to the mentor? What mentor type are you looking for? If your criteria is people that are successful and recognizable in the field, that could make it more difficult because they tend to be busy people.
But also, I think that it's important that you're not just going for like the name brand mentors, not just going for this person has a particular title or this person works in a particular company, because sometimes, what's on paper is not what's the experience. But I think looking at the other things that are, where are there points of similarity in terms of maybe a background, maybe they have a specific educational thing that looks interesting to you that's similar to yours. Maybe they've put something on LinkedIn that you connect with, and you're like, that is an interesting point of view. I want to learn more about that. I want to get to that point.
Fair warning, you want people with experience, but there's still some overlap with your own experience or knowledge.
I can help people better when they already have a little bit of experience, and otherwise it would be better when they approach a senior researcher, maybe a few years in the field, then the level is more similar.
Keep in mind this conscious competence learning model that show that people who are too advanced in their careers may fall into a mold where they can't articulate well the knowledge that they acquired over time. Reach out to someone who's a bit closer to your experience instead of going for someone in a director position. We were speaking earlier about reaching out to someone on LinkedIn. How do you approach someone that you haven't met before and increase your chances of getting a reply? The first thing is to communicate why you've reached out to that specific person.
Yeah, of course, the request should also be a little bit specific, that I feel, okay, they really want me as a mentor, and they have looked a little bit at my background, and they say they feel they could benefit. Yeah.
If instead you reach out and you say, hey, I took a look at your LinkedIn profile and it's interesting how you moved from this organization to this organization. Could you tell me about it? Or I see that you have a computer science background, but you're not a programmer. Could you tell me about it? Those are things that I feel very confident talking about because they're my life. And then we can talk about your life.
On this topic, what's the benefit for the mentor? Have you stopped to think why people are offering their time to mentor others? I've asked that to Sarah and Sabrina. This is what they had to say.
Actually, I started it during lockdown, and I really enjoyed connecting with other UX people. And it is a challenge, meeting someone, finding out what the problem is, giving the best advice. And it's also very rewarding when I see my advice works and they improve their professional situation. Yes, it's very rewarding. It is mutually beneficial, I would say. Yeah. And for people who are individual contributors and want to move into a manager role, this is a very good preparation.
So I have a bunch of different personal reasons for enjoying the mentoring and why I got started. It's important to me to stay connected with people, especially in this very distributed world. And so, connecting with people, either people I know who are mostly through LinkedIn or people I don't know, which is mostly through mentoring platforms. I really like hearing all the different things that are going on, the problems that people are facing, understanding what's going on in the world.
I think I could echo what both of them said as well. I've been doing a bit of remote work and I miss exchanging ideas with others from different backgrounds. As we advance in our careers, it starts to get harder to see things from a fresh perspective. We've covered what is mentorship, how to find a mentor, what to look for in a mentor, and how to approach a mentor. But now, to make sure you make the most of these sessions, here's a few suggestions. The first one is time management. Everyone is busy, so be respectful of the mentor's time. This means if you commit to show up in a certain time, make sure that you show up at that time.
Being reliable regarding appointments and these things. Yeah, this sounds like a very normal thing to do, but it's not always like that.
To increase your chances of getting a mentor, consider these points as well.
Something that I can provide and has some degree of scope attached to it. Hi, I'm looking for a job. Can you review my resume with me? That has a scope attached to it and something I can do. If it's, hi, I don't understand, what I should do with my life, I can have a call with you, but I'm not really set up to do a full life coach situation.
I can help people best. I cannot replace a whole university degree, so they need to have some basic knowledge. Yeah.
Try to come up to these sessions prepared with a list of questions or things that you'd like to discuss. And there's this subtle point that Sarah makes here.
So I think that it's important for the mentee to come into the situation not as a, I'm here, now give me all the answers. That's not going to be healthy for anybody. And in fact, I would say that for mentors, it's very easy to fall into the trap of just like, hi, I will give you the benefit of my wisdom. And that's not great for either group either. For all I said that I want to help you avoid your, the same pain points I had. I was a specific person in a specific place, and I try to make sure that people know, like, hey, it could work out differently for you. And, so go and try the thing. Just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean that it won't work for you. And similarly, like, if I think that this is how you should present yourself in your case study, and that doesn't feel authentic to you, then you shouldn't do that. Actually, that's a thing for the mentee. If the recommendations from your mentor do not feel authentic, first off, you can push back and say, what other things could I try? Always work with your mentor to diverge, to think about multiple different options before you converge too quickly. And then you can come to a conclusion together, as opposed to like jumping straight to the easiest thing that comes to the mentor's mind.
Sarah is making it clear that mentorship is really about support. It's not that the mentor has to make the effort in the place of the mentee. It's supposed to be this back and forth.
Even if, you've seen a bunch of reviews for a specific mentor that mentor has like done this phenomenal thing for another person, that's not a guarantee that it's going to happen for you. And so come in with a reasonable expectation of like, if we can get to this point, that would be great. And if we get further, then that's a cherry on top.
That's it. As I've mentioned earlier, we now have different platforms that are there to support these mentoring sessions. I think the platform that most people know today is ADP List, which is an amazing resource, absolutely for free. Sarah and Sabrina are there in the platform. I'm there as well, although my availability is limited. But you can find other mentors there, not only on research, but design and product as well. I've listed a few more resources in the description below, things that could be helpful. And watch out for the next video I'm working on. We'll dive into job interviews and hiring practices and how the market is set up at the moment. That should be an interesting one. And I'll see you around.